Hi, everyone. I'm Anshul. I'm the founder of June15 Consulting. And today I have with me Loren Fogelman. She is a superstar in the accounting industry. She is a very popular keynote speaker. If you've attended any conference in the accounting space, I'm sure you've heard her speak. She is also one of the top business coaches in the world. HubSpot ranked her 22 worldwide. That's just awesome. Lauren, welcome to the show.
Anshu, thank you so much. I am so looking forward to our conversation together.
Absolutely. So, the first thing, tell us more about your background. Like, how did you come to become a business coach? And like for accountants, that's a pretty awesome niche. So, tell me more about that.
Mhm. I will let you know that I wasn't necessarily planning to one day become a business coach for accounting professionals. It's more that this was an evolution with twists and turns. I started out actually doing sports psychology, working with highly motivated athletes who wanted to be at the top of their game. And I always did some business coaching as well because I have a love for people that are entrepreneurs and navigating some of those things that come up along the way. And what happened is that I found myself growing two businesses where I was splitting time, it was taking away from my family. And that was when I realized my family was paying a high price for me working so much, and I needed to make a change. I decided to put the sports psychology on the back burner and really devote all my time and efforts to the business coaching. And during the course of that evolution, I found that the people I work best with are accounting firm owners. And what I do best with them is helping them to be able to move away from time based fees, whether that's an hourly rate or fixed fee, over to value pricing and how to be able to package their services and enroll clients into their new business model.
That's amazing, and I love that topic as well because I'm very interested in learning that too. Like, I think as for my business too, I've been in a process where I'm trying to move away from, hourly rates as a consultant. That's what a lot of clients offer. And at the end of the day, I'm like, this cannot be what I do every day. So
Hmm.
super excited to learn more about that. So tell me more. Like you say that we need to think about raising rates without losing clients. So tell me more about that.
Actually, over the years of doing this, I've been able to really systematize the process for firm owners. And it's a series of 5 steps that I focus on called the Raise Your Rates formula. And the very first step is really knowing who those quality clients are, because usually in the beginning, you're accepting everybody who breathes and is willing to pay your fees. And you realize that some clients are a better fit for your firm than others. So we want to be aware of what makes someone a quality client. And then step number two is how to be able to communicate value. Once you become aware of what those quality clients seek in your services, then we can come up with the words that grab their attention and make them want to have a further conversation with you because they know that you're speaking right to them and that you get them. Step number three is then packaging your services. This is really the first step to getting away from those time-based fees over to value pricing, is being able to take all those a la carte services that you possibly offer and bundle them together into packages so that you're now offering outcomes and solutions as opposed to focusing on the technical work that you might be doing. That goes right into step number four, which is value pricing. This is where we're looking at the value of the work from the client's point of view. And as a result of that, you can actually charge 2 to 3 times more than traditional pricing, whether it's an hourly rate or fixed fees. And then the last one, number five, is consultation mastery. And if you are having consultations with potential new clients or even with your current clients and wanting to raise their fees, you want to be able to do it where they see the value of engaging your services. They're not as price sensitive. And by the end of the conversation, they ask, how does this move forward? They're ready to really get going with you. And if you don't like the sales part, then this is absolutely something you want to figure out, is how to have that value conversation. Anyway, those are the 5 steps of the Raise Your Rates formula: is quality clients, communicate your value, packaging your services, value pricing, and consultation mastery.
That's amazing. I The first thing that came to my mind was, let's say I have a bunch of clients. I go through that exercise and I realize I have a few current clients that don't quite fit the new client persona that I want to
Mhm.
attract. How do I go about telling them that, hey, this is like, I need to go in a different direction? Because I mean, this is all about relationships, right? So if I'm in
Yeah.
that position, my first thing is I'm going to be scared that am I going to end up ruining my relationship with them? Like, tell me more about like how to navigate a situation like that.
That's part of the raise your rates formula that I do with my clients is we go through a very specific series of steps of how to be able to enroll your current clients into your new business model with your new rates and packages, but also realizing that there's probably some clients you've been holding on to for much too long. They're not a good fit for you and where you're going at this point, and to be able to actually let them know in a professional way without laying blame or anything like that, that it's time to be able to move forward and let them go. And the way that I would do it is really by taking the higher road with a very client centered letter or an email or conversation, depending on your relationship with the client, and letting them know that you're changing your business model. And by the changes that you're making, you're not able to best serve their needs any longer, and that it's in their best interest to move forward. So we're making it very client centered about how they will benefit by moving on, as opposed to letting them know that they're not really a quality client for you and that you're ready to fire them or cut them loose.
You know, I think that makes sense. Talking about seeing the value from their perspective, why this
Mhm.
benefits them to work with somebody who can better serve them. So I get that part. Yeah. So one thing I want to talk to you about is talent shortages, right? That
Mhm.
just everyone is talking about that. So what are you hearing from your clients, from people you interact with about talent shortages, about, what's going on, how we got here, how people are trying to get out of it?
Well, actually, earlier today, I was reading a post from the BDO Alliance. They just had their conference last week, and they did actually a poll from all of their members, and their members range from very small firms up to the big four. And they found that every single firm, no matter what size it is, except for the solo firms who are just a solo team member, but every other firm, they had a common problem or challenge with talent. It was across the board. And part of what I feel is that when there's talent shortages and you can't really staff your team to the degree that you need to, or with the level of qualifications, it affects your capacity for growth. It also stresses out the current team there because now they're probably taking on other things that they wouldn't normally take on, and it stresses out their workload. So once again, the talent shortage is very, very real. It affects the room for growth, but also it then, as a business owner, it might keep you from being able to focus on business development because you find that you're working too much in your own business doing the day-to-day operations. So it is something that is out there, and I think that people are pushing against it. They're going to have to find some solutions that might go beyond what the traditional way of staffing has always been.
I mean, I agree. I think people need to get creative. They need to get a little bold.
Hmm.
It's going to require a little bit of technology adoption, a little bit of getting creative and how and where you build a team. So that should be important. So, so I'm an accounting firm. I'm struggling to find talent. How does that bump up against the fact that I want to raise rate and I want to reduce my working hours? So, what do you tell your clients who are in this situation, can't find people, but are interested in, still pricing for value, not for time?
I don't know if one has anything to do with the other. They're actually two separate issues because what I find with my clients is that if we move forward with raising their rates and getting their clients over to their new pricing and into packages, it actually improves efficiency. And some of those clients that were the lower value clients, they tend to move on. So as a result of that, it lets you then work with your quality clients. And because you've had a rate increase, you're able to actually increase your revenues and reduce your workload at the same time. In fact, when my clients follow the Raise Your Rates formula, statistically, I would say about 82 up to 100% of the clients actually continue working with them. But now they're increasing their revenues, and also as a result of this, these firm owners aren't working as many hours, which frees them up to actually work more on the higher level advisory side of uh, the services as well. So it is one solution. However, if there's a talent shortage, it still is going to mean that the firm owners are working too much in the day to day and not able to have as much capacity for the high level advisory services or the projects that might be coming in and business development.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I really like the angle that once you start pricing your services better, it'll save you a tiny bit from the talent shortages, because now you're letting go of clients that maybe are not a good fit but are taking a big portion of your time.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that sort of helps relieve the pressure a tad bit, but I agree it's not like a complete solution.
No, yeah, and I think it depends on the firm. Some firm owners want domination and massive growth, and so of course there's going to be talent that they need to be able to attract into their team and build out their team. And then there's others that realize we can just take the strategy of increasing the value of a client, and I don't need as many clients, and I can really have a simpler business model and it's still going to meet my revenue needs. So I think it depends on the firm owner and what it is that the firm owner wants to achieve.
I agree. I think when we did our warm-up call, one of the things we talked about was maximizing our lifestyle, right? This isn't just about maximizing revenue.
Mhm.
And when I tell people that my goal for this business, yes, we want to earn money. Yes, we want a good professional accomplishments. But the idea is to accomplish a lifestyle that I have in mind.
Mhm.
That to achieve that, and that includes like money, but also time and flexibility and freedom to be able to go to my daughter's second grade graduation, right? I don't know if I'd be able to do that if I wasn't prioritizing that over just working more.
Well, if you were an employee, you'd have to ask permission. So let's
That's
just
true.
start with that.
Yeah.
But I agree with you, and I think that that was one of my tough learning lessons that moved me in this direction was that my first business sucked the life out of me, and that my family paid the price. I wasn't home for dinner all the time. I missed out on kids of sporting events over the weekends, and it wasn't something that was able to benefit the whole family. It wasn't sustainable for me either. And that's when I moved in this direction of the business coaching, I was very mindful that I wanted to have a business that supported my life because I already had the one that sucked the life out of me.
Yeah, that makes sense. Um, so now you'd mentioned in a warm-up call you traveled to India. Tell me
Mhm.
more about that. Like, what was that like?
Well, part of having a lifestyle business, one that supports my life, as I just mentioned, is that my husband Steve and I, we love to travel. In fact, our whole family loves to travel. I travel with my mom and dad. I travel with our kids and our grandkids. We all love to travel. It's very, very enriching for us. So I really created a business model that allows me to travel all over the world. And we decided last December to go to India because it's been on our list for quite a while. We've been very interested in it, and we were going to just make it happen. So we went ahead and we spent 3 weeks in southern India, seeing how the people lived there, they worked there, seeing the cultural differences compared to how we live here in North America. And it was a very, very enriching experience. And we met some amazing people and really came away with a lot of respect. But I also want to say, Anshul, that I came home with a lot of appreciation for the lifestyle that I
Absolutely.
have here as well.
Absolutely. I think that's one of the best things you take away from travel. Like you get to learn something else, you learn more about a different culture, you respect them, but you also appreciate what you have here, right?
Hmm.
Every country has their pros and cons, but I think that's one of the biggest advantages of travel, that you appreciate what you have going on for you at home. Because when we're here, we just like the news is negative, everything is just, it
Mhm.
feels like the world is ending. But then you travel someplace and you come back, you're like, it's not so bad. There's a lot of good things here too. So
Mhm.
I always feel that when I travel. So, and
And I
yeah,
just wanna say a bonus is I got to eat Indian food 3 times a day. So
that's a big plus. And I think you mentioned you went to Kochi and some other places. Those places have amazing food.
Mhm.
So
Absolutely. They had things available that I had never seen on a menu at, North American Indian restaurants. So we were really exposed to the taste of India and what the flavor had to offer.
oh, absolutely. Here, I mean, the restaurants are more fusion, right? They
Mhm.
dumb it down. I won't say dumb it down, but they sort of change the palette a bit.
Yeah.
I remember when I took my client to India, we set up their office. It was their inauguration, and he went to the hotel, and he was like, he told the waiter that, hey, I want to eat something that's Indian spicy. And the waiter kept saying nope. And he asked me like, can you tell him? And I told the waiter that, hey, bring him something that's like really spicy, even for Indians. And the waiter goes, no, I'm not going to do that because he could die, and I don't want that. So I was like, okay. So that's sort of what you see on
Mhm.
steroids in the U.S. That there's Indian food, but it's not. It's very Americanized to suit the palate
Yes.
here.
Yes.
So, your trip in India, how did that change your perspective? Because a lot of accounting firms right now are looking to India to address talent
Mhm.
shortages, right? They're either working with outsourcing companies or they're setting up their own teams with direct ownership, right? So, now that you traveled to India, got to see some people, did that change? Like, how do you feel about this trend of accounting firms going to India, hiring a team?
Well, I think the first thing I wanna say is that I try to be as open-minded as I can as a human being, but we all tend to gravitate towards people who are similar to us. So there is, uh, overall, just in general, I think, uh, there's some generalities or some judgments we have about outsourcing in India, especially if any of us have called customer service and we've ended
Oh,
up with someone who has outsourced their customer service to India. Sometimes you get someone that you can't understand what they're saying because of the fact that the accent is different than what we're used to, or other times where it just creates some frustration. And what I have found for myself is by being in India, I was able to let go of maybe some of those own experiences and judgments that I had, and really seeing that the overall as a country, they're very proud people, uh, and that they are very, very hard workers, and that because of the fact that they're at a different level of advancement than in the US, things that we take for granted or we are automated for us is still manual labor there. And so I think it's really woven into the country or the culture that you come if you want to survive, you have to be really dedicated to the work that you're doing and appreciative of it also.
I completely agree. I think one of the things that I saw, so I was born in India, then I moved to the US as a teenager, and now to Canada. One of the things I saw that was common between US and India was work plays a big part in our life, in our identities,
Mhm.
right? Work is our North Star here in North America, right? We go to school thinking about, all right, this is what I want to do. We arrange our lives around work. Not always a good thing, right? We want to move away from that. We want to do a balance, but that's sort of what I see in India too. Like work is a big part of our identity. It's people take pride in it. And one of the biggest surprises, pleasant surprises that accounting firms have when they work with an India team is like, holy crap, this actually could work, right? I didn't think that this could work. It's a heavy lift. Like the first year is a challenge. But then after that, once you get to know each other just a little bit, you understand
Mhm.
how to communicate with each other. The biggest surprise is that, wow, this works. And that's what I hear from a lot of people, that people in India, they're extremely dedicated, they're hardworking, and they take pride, which is the most important part in what they do.
And that's what
So
we want in any team member that we're adding to our firm, regardless of where their location is.
absolutely, yeah. And
Mhm.
I think after COVID, that's one of the things that happened, that the world sort of opened up. The stigma around remote working sort of went away. And I think that's why a lot of accounting firms are now more comfortable going to India.
Right.
But I agree with you. There's a stigma. There's a stigma around um, just the fear of unknown, like, because we don't know what's going to happen. And
Mhm.
the early 2000 call center experiences, they definitely did help. So I get that part because I experienced those too. So I get that
Mhm.
part. So I want to talk about, I want to tie this into like raising rates. Like if I'm an accountant, I have a team in India that's helping me at least deal with the workload. How can I leverage that to, increase my rates?
Well, I think that it's okay to increase your rates no matter who's on your team. So let's go with
Yep.
that, and start with that. What I feel is that when you're looking to price for your services, you want to look at things from the client's point of view. And the clients don't care necessarily who's doing the work or how long the work takes to be done, or even what you're doing to be able to have a deliverable goods to your clients. What they do care about is that they come to you because they have particular challenges or problems or frustrations, and they want you to help remove them and solve those challenges. So they invest in solutions as opposed to your time. Nobody wants to buy your time. They're already busy enough. They don't want more for you to be taking more time from them or anything like that. What they want to know is that you have the expertise and the resources to really deliver on what they're hiring you to do. And as a result of that, I don't think it matters where your team is located. It's the fact that you're able to solve a problem for your clients, which frees them up, it reduces their stress, it allows them to focus on their own business development so they can continue to grow and get the results that they're seeking with their business and how to be able to better serve their clients too.
That's a very important point and a big boost because when I talk to accountants, a lot of accountants they worry. They're like, I see the value in building a team in India, right? But I don't know what my clients are going to think. I don't know how going to react. And I really liked what you said that clients are looking for solutions, right? They have a problem, they want you to solve it. They're not that worried about who's doing it or how long it takes.
Right. And one of the things I'm gonna also add to that then, based on what you were saying, is that okay, if you're doing tax work for clients and the staffing in India is doing some of that tax work, you are obligated in the US to inform your clients and have a
Yep.
signed consent
Mm.
that you are outsourcing offshore some of the tax work. So that's the first thing is there does need to be transparency if it's tax work. If it's any other type of accounting, uh, you don't need to, you're not obligated to inform them unless you choose to. And that is something to just consider. And it's not that you're being transparent or not. You just need to make that decision for your firm. It's similar to any time you have a turnover anyway in your firm. Do you tell all your clients every time you replace one person with another? So I don't think I would look at it from, oh, I'm outsourcing to India. My clients need to know. I think it's more that your clients need to have good faith in you that you're hiring the best person for your team, no matter where they are located geographically in the world.
Yep, I agree. Here's what I've seen. Like, there's quite a few accounting firms, big and small, going to India. The ones that are getting the most out of their India office, they are very transparent with their clients.
Hmm.
And sure, for tax review, legally required, I think it's IRS code 7216, you have to get a signed authorization that, hey, even if it's your company, your subsidiary in India, you still need to let your clients know and get it signed that it is okay to get that work done in India. But even beyond that, what I've seen is a lot of accounting firms are fully open. Like they'll post pictures with their India team, they'll
Hmm.
share stories with their clients, and a slight difference between like working with an outsourcing company and you having your own team with direct ownership. With direct ownership, clients sometimes or most times are slightly more relieved that, hey, my data isn't going to a third party. Like my data
Hmm.
is with this person that I trust. And even in India, it's just with this person. It's not going to a third party. So that's one benefit that I've seen, or that's one thing that puts clients more at ease when you're working with a team that's, hey, this is my team, not an outsourcing company, my team. So that sort of helps too.
Mhm. I think that you need to, look at yourself and what feels right for you. There's no right or wrong as to whether you inform your clients or not. Just yesterday, I was talking with one of my clients who does outsource, and she has all their profile pictures and all of their bios there and where they live. So she's very, very transparent about it. And others, not as much. So once again, you
Yeah,
have to do what's right for you.
absolutely. So I also want to talk about resistance, right? So I, as a business owner, went through that, still go through that when I think about I need to charge my clients more
Mhm.
simply because I'm providing more value to them than I was. But there's that internal resistance. I'm like, I don't know, should I do that? Should I not do that? So what advice do you have for entrepreneurs, for accountants who are in that situation, who agree with everything you're saying, but have that resistance internally that I know I should do it, but I don't know. So what would you say to them?
I think that that internal resistance is normal. It is something that every single business owner from solo up to the big four think about before they go ahead and raise their rates. It's not like they think about raising their rates and they go ahead and implement it tomorrow. It is something that is accomplished best when you have a plan and it's strategic. What I find with my clients is that some of them think about it for years before they actually do it, or they just raise their rates with the new clients and not their current older clients or their legacy clients. So there's a lot of mindset that comes into it. And I work very, very closely with my clients, helping them to raise their fees, not just with the new clients, but also helping them to implement it with their current clients as well, to avoid having two different business models where your new clients are in packages and your old clients are still paying hourly rate and you have to invoice them every month. So a lot of the fears that come up have to do with losing clients. And they also, some of them don't like feeling like they feel that like let's just leave the status quo alone and not rock the boat. So
Yeah,
that is something else because they don't want to have what they feel might be a confrontational or uncomfortable conversation with their clients. But what I also see is as my clients go through this, they are connecting with the value that they offer their clients. And by first connecting with the value that they offer their clients and really how much they do for them and the impact of their service on their clients' businesses. Once they do that, they find that it's easier to convey that value to their clients and move forward. They become less tolerant of those clients that want a lot of services for the lowest prices possible. And because they've connected with their value first, it's easier for their clients to recognize the value that they've uh, offer their clients as well. So once again, yes, it's a mindset thing for everybody, no matter how small or large your firm is. The top concern is worry about losing clients. And then once again, you need to realize what your value is before you can expect anybody else to recognize it. But the clients that tend to go, as I was saying before, are those low quality clients that probably stressed you out anyway. Or it could be your biggest client who grew over time, but and the work that you do for them has adjusted, but you never adjusted your fees. So sometimes your biggest client is your lowest value client because of the fact that you're doing so much for them, but your fees are much lower than what you currently would be charging them.
that would be a very interesting situation to be in, to have your biggest client be your lowest value client. I'm trying to put myself in that situation, and it's it's an uncomfortable one. So, but I get it. Like first we need to find our value, connect with it. Once we believe in it, it's easier to get other clients or other people on board.
Mhm.
So talking about value, right? So one of the things that I often talk to my clients, my prospect, something that they struggle with is when they have an India team, right? That adds a lot of value to them, but they often struggle to talk about this value to clients. They're not sure how, it's the same internal resistance, right? So I feel like when I talk to people, they're like, yes, I know this is going to work. I know I've seen other firms do it, but then there's that internal resistance. Oh. In our warm-up call, we also talked about you know, we talked about to scale up, you need to niche down.
Mhm.
So tell me more about that. Like, why do you think that's needed, and how does an accountant go about doing that? What does that look like?
Well, I think the first thing is that there's a benefit to niching, especially if you're a smaller firm. If you're one of the big four, you could probably be all things to all people because you have the resources and the team to be able to do that. But for mid-sized to smaller firms, I find there's a very strong benefit to having a niche. One is that it gives you a target as to where to expend your resources of time, money, and effort. If you have a particular vertical that you work with, you know that you want to find where they hang out, be in front of where they go, be able to talk to what is important to them. And as a result of that, they start seeing you as an expert because you understand the needs of their specific industry. So that's the other thing. It is the first thing is that it makes it easier for you as far as visibility and also being seen as an expert. The other thing is, as you're being seen as this expert, then that means that you have higher perceived value in the eyes of a potential client, which allows you to go ahead and increase the fees that you would be charging. Similar to having a medical issue, your general practitioner most likely charges one fee for an office visit. And if you went to see a specialist, you know that that specialist is going to be charging you a higher fee, even though the amount of time in the office might be the same amount of time. So you're paying for that knowledge, that very specific knowledge that that practitioner would have. And the same is for you. Clients come to you because you really understand and have solutions that are specific to their industry. So that's what I see. And the way to start doing that is either you know what direction you want to move in as far as a vertical goes, or it's possible that you are taking the concept of peeling the onion back layer by layer. And you're first figuring out who you don't want to work with and the type of work you don't enjoy doing. And you're doing more of an elimination process before you're able to really tap into who might be a best fit client for you. So it can be one of two ways. Either you already know that you enjoy working with a particular vertical, or it could be that you do a process of elimination, starting out with who you don't enjoy working with first.
So I think that makes sense. One question that I have, or before I got into the accounting world, the offshoring part of it, how do you find, like, one thing I was always afraid of was how do I avoid focusing on a niche that ends up being too small, right? And I know now from reading and listening to expert that there's
Mhm.
no such thing, but I'm sure there are accountants out there who want to focus on a niche, but are worried that is it too small? Like, how do they how do they address that concern?
Well, as a firm owner, you get to make the rules. If you feel that you have selected a niche that wasn't right for you or is too small, you can change. And it's okay. Nothing happens. So when you're deciding to move into a niche, I call it more of a developing specialty or developing niche. It's not like today you have one set of clients and then tomorrow you have a whole new set of clients and you let go of the old ones. You're making a transition from your current set of clients into the new one. And it takes a little bit of time before you actually build up credibility and are able to firmly serve that new population. But if you find that that population isn't really a great fit for you after a while, you could migrate over into another population or try out another niche and then decide if maybe another one is a better fit for you. So that's one thing to think about. The other thing is if you're working with clients, they might tell other people about you that are outside of that profession. And when someone comes to you who's outside of the niche that you're in, you get to decide whether you want to work with that particular client or not. There's no hard and fast rule that you can't draw outside the lines. So once again, it makes it easier as far as improving efficiency and knowing where to put your efforts for marketing and business development to have a niche. But it doesn't mean that you can't work with anybody else that doesn't fit into that particular professional vertical.
Yeah, that makes sense. So we're running up on our time. So last question, Lauren, is there anything else you want to share with people who are looking to increase rates, looking to reduce their workload? Any last minute pointers, anything that we didn't cover that I should have asked you?
Mhm. We've talked about increasing rates, and there's a lot of talk out there about value pricing. However, there's not a lot of step by step of how does it actually get done. If you've always went ahead and tied your fees to time, whether it's an hourly rate or a fixed rate, I want to go ahead and give you the steps to start transitioning over to value pricing that you can actually start implementing today. And I call it the good, better, best pricing model. And what you want to think about is this is similar to like maybe first learning to ride a two-wheel bicycle. And in the beginning, you're shaky and you might even fall off. So as you get better and better, you are able to really stay on your bicycle longer and longer and go at faster speeds. So the good, better, best is that in the beginning, you have new clients coming to you. And what you want to do is come up with that original fixed fee you were going to charge them. And before you give them a price, I want you to take that original fixed fee and multiply it by 1.5. That's your new good rate. I want you to enroll 3 people at your new good pricing. This gives you some evidence that people aren't quite as price sensitive as you thought that they were. After you enroll 3 people at your new good rate, we go to tier 2, which is your new get better rate. Once again, people come to you, come up with that original fixed fee you would have charged, and now we'll multiply it by 2x. As a result of enrolling people now with your new better rate, you're earning double what you previously would have earned before. You're getting better at having that value conversation with potential clients where they see you more as that expert and that they're hiring you for the solutions that you offer as opposed to how much time it takes to implement those solutions. And as a result of that, you're really seeing evidence that you can charge more and you're currently getting paid double what you were before. So after enrolling 3 people into your new better rate, we go to tier 3, which is your new best rate. You have people come to you, come up with that original fixed fee you would have charged, and now multiply it by 3x. I want to let you know charging 3 times more what you originally would have charged takes courage. The confidence comes as you see people saying yes to you. But they have a perceived higher value of what you have to offer because you're charging 3 times more than what a lot of other people might be charging. So you're working with a better quality clients. As a result of that, you don't need as many clients. So this handle is part of the workload problem. This allows you to now either get back some of your personal time, focus on business development, or to be able to add advisory services to your clients. And at some point, I just want to say you might want to bring your new best rate down to the bottom and recalibrate. But as I said, with value pricing earlier, you can earn 2 to 3 times more than what you're originally charging. And if you follow my good, better, best pricing model, that's the way to start having that happen in a very slow and steady way. So you gain more confidence over time and you get better at having those value conversations.
That is the best and the most clear set of instructions I've had for anything really. Like it's all laid down so clearly that this is what you need to do, this is what you'll get, here's why you need to do. So that's amazing. So that's all our time. Thank you so much, Lauren, for sharing all your amazing insights. Thank you for your time. And if um, thank you so much. Yeah.
And Anshul, I want to say if somebody wanted to maybe go ahead, I have a resource that goes with that that starts to explain it. If they want to go to businesssuccesssolution.com/package, they can get all the steps on how to start doing the value pricing that I just explained and how to start packaging their services as well.
Great. There you go. I will make sure I put that in the link.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
so much.
Lauren.